Because the hurricane is a great cyclonic force that sweeps around and seems to engulf all the surrounding area in chaos, but in the very center is a calm area where there's no wind, and it's the eye of the storm. The storm circles around and the center is absolutely calm and peace. And that was the situation I was in, living with Osho at the ranch in Oregon and also in India, that there was a great storm of controversy always swirling around him. Thousands and thousands of people, news, TV cameras, military invasions, problems with politicians, problems with other religious heads, criticizing him, attacking him. And yet being around him, nearby him, I felt a sense of deep peace, of deep silence, of the infinity of existence yawning before me. So that curiously gave me when I was asked to come up with a name for a book, that's what happened, that I was in the calm eye of a great storm swirling all around. There were so many experiences being with Osho, so many experiences that people really can't imagine if they were not in that situation, and so many experiences that were portrayed in an unreal way by news media, false news, and all the propaganda of the times, that as the time went by and I realized I was getting older, and before all these memories faded away, I wanted to gather them together and present them so that people who came after, who are going to come after, could see them and read them and see what the story was like from someone who was by the side of this great being, great mysterious being. I had read stories in younger days written by disciples of Milarepa or by Milarepa himself or disciples of Gurdjieff, and they always fascinated me and prodded me on in my search. And that's my wish, that this helps some people to understand. They may have a little taste, a little glimpse of Osho, hear a little bit about him, see a book about him, but his books are not him. His books are just the very most outside doorway, and to enter into that doorway is a totally different experience. So I wanted to give a little bit of that experience to people who come after. The idea of this book came about because for about 30 years after my experiences in the commune with Osho and after his death, his leaving the world, I was traveling constantly, playing concerts all over Japan, all over Europe, and recently in South America, traveling endless miles on highways, trains, voyages on boats, and I had a lot of time on my hands. And as I would be in between concerts in the travels, sometimes my car would break down in the middle of nowhere in Spain, and I'd be sitting in a cafe for 8 hours waiting for the car to be fixed. And I would start to remember these stories, and it started as a kind of pastime, a kind of recollection of memories, because it's a way of integrating the experiences too. So many things happened, so many conflicting things happened in the commune that it took me really years to integrate the experiences and absorb them in a way that I could use them and move on. The most challenging part of the writing process was to organize it into a cohesive storyline, because I remembered it as fragments. I remembered it as this stirring event, this emotional happening, this traumatic event, this life-changing event. And it was all like little pieces of a puzzle, and it took me a great deal of time to gather all that and put it into a coherent, linear fashion where it could be understood by someone outside the story. And part of that process was to constantly eliminate my own personal wish for revenge, wish to get even on people who I at the time thought had harmed me, or people who had done me wrong, let's say. And I realized that this book is not for me, it's not for people even right now, it's for people who will come later. So it needs to have a kind of eternity value without a great deal of personal poison. So I tried my best to eliminate personal vendettas and to constantly glean away that which was unnecessary. I only wanted to be there what I actually saw happen, what I actually knew happened, and to take away any personal attack on my part, other than telling the story in a real way, because the story has not been told in a real way from the outside world. It is my wish that the reader will find a sense of how a real master works, that the real master is not there to make you someone greater, make you perfect, or make you a powerful hero, or a great corporate head, or a fantastic manifester. No, the master is there to demolish your ego. Everything he does is brick by brick, taking apart the building of the ego which we have carefully made over all the days of our lives. And the master's work is to unmake that in such a way that the whole building does not fall down on your head and kill you, but that you can open up the sky, open up little windows to the sky, and then suddenly the light floods in. Well, my wish is to give the sense of that work to people, because right now the spiritual marketplace is bombarded by things which only are trying to aggrandize the ego, trying to bolster the ego, trying to make it bigger, better, more perfect, a more wonderful body, a perfect mind, positivity. This is okay if that's what you want to do, but that's not spirituality. That is actually working in the opposite direction. It's actually gluing you more to materialism, gluing you to the material world, to your desires, to seeing your happiness as dependent on fulfilling your desires. And that's not what your happiness is dependent on. Your happiness is dependent on slipping out of the trap of the mind and into no mind, which is an opposite. It's a river going in the opposite direction. It's not the river flowing towards fulfilling its desires, it's the river flowing away from the objects of desire and eventually away from the act of desire itself, which is a different course. And it takes a great master to lead you through that, because in the process you feel like you're going crazy, because you're going totally against your conditioning, and you reach moments when you lose trust in everything. And it's only that great love for a master, for that energy spark, that divine presence which you feel in his presence or her presence, that can pull you through. One memory was key was at the age of 7 years old, when I was thoroughly convinced that I was going to die one night. It was during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and there was a faulty air raid alert at about 3 in the morning, where I was laying in bed, really totally convinced that I would be dead within 5 minutes, because obviously the Russian missiles were on the way. We lived next door to an Air Force base with B-52 bombers, and I thought I was going to die. I was convinced I was going to die. And it was such a shock to me that I realized, why have I lived? What is this life all about? Why was I here and now I'm not going to be here? And probably a year before that, I had been walking to school one day at the age of 7 years old, or 6 years old, And suddenly, in the middle of the street, my whole, the whole matrix of my mind, who I am, I'm going to school, what I'm doing, what my name is, everything went completely blank, and I was simply standing naked in infinity. I had no identity, I had no body, I didn't even know that I didn't know. There was simply isness. And that was my first experience of no mind. And that stayed with me as a seed, which I think prompted me to seek out a master which could help me to regain that experience later on in life. Well, a big part of my, let's say, duty or my task in living with him and in his house and being around him was to respect his privacy and not try to intrude on that. So, you know, I wouldn't come barging in and say, "Hey, Osho, how you doing, man?" No, it wasn't like that. It was like he was a sacred presence, and I would respect that and respectfully move around him throughout my day. But yet I could feel where he was. I could feel him as a very powerful energy presence. Then, when he died, curiously, that experience of being always aware of where he was in the house through his energetic sense, once he died, 2 days later, I started to have that feeling all the time. Not that he was a ghost appearing here or there or somewhere, but that he was everywhere. That he had dissolved into the existence. He had dissolved into the universe. He had dissolved into all his people. I could feel it in everyone I spoke to. We were in a heart-to-heart communion for several months after his passing. It was a very, very magical time in the commune. And I realized that he did what he said. He transcended death. He did not die in the way that a normal person dies, but he spread his joy and his light and his being into all his people and into the wind, into the sky, into the trees. It really happened, and I really felt it. And that was a very transformative experience for me. Well, one thing that I hope to clarify was through all the experience that happened at the ranch in Oregon. The ranch was a laboratory. It was a laboratory of human consciousness where many experiments were done in the sense of social living and how to live, abandoning some of the very strict chains that people live in modern day life. The nuclear family, the small job, only having a small circle of friends that you talk to, belonging to a company or a corporation. No, that was all abolished, and we were all living, thousands of people from all different countries and all different ages, working together many, many hours a day, working together many more hours than what you would normally work with for no money, and yet we were happy. It was a fascinating experience, and yet it was not perfect. It was an experiment. Some things did not work out. Notably, the fact that Osho gave all the positions of power to women in the commune as a kind of gesture to compensate for all the abuse of the denial of power that women have gone through for centuries. And yet, those women that had the power had been raised in this patriarchal society and perpetuated those patriarchal attitudes and created a patriarchal hierarchical structure with them at the top of it. So nothing really changed. In fact, it got worse because they were very emotional and very irrational in their patriarchality. So it was an eye-opening experience for me, and I think for many people, that the master, the enlightened master, is not perfect. He's not like Jehovah in the Bible, omniscient and omnipresent and all-powerful God who never makes mistakes. No, he, with a great deal of love and awareness, tries to help people tries to change the social situation so that you are confronted with your egos and you learn. But that doesn't mean that hardship does not happen. That doesn't mean that you don't encounter suffering. You encounter your suffering more in the commune than outside the commune. It's not a utopia. It's a crucible of transformation. Be alert, my friend. Be much more alert. Be alert and never give up your sense. Never give up your common sense. Judge things, take it all back to your own heart and see, weigh it. Is this right for me? Is this not right for me? And don't give up that sense. And be alert, always and everywhere. My relationship with Osho now is one of gratitude. I don't look to him to tell me what to do in a tough situation or help me or save me. None of that. That's all past. That was coming from my needs of a very young person, kind of lost in the world. I don't feel that now. I feel I'm happy to make my own mistakes. I'm happy to feel my own loneliness when I feel it. I'm happy to go my own way, even if it's blundering sometimes. You need to make those blunders. I need to prove myself and try myself in millions of situations and learn through that. I don't want anybody to shield me or save me. And yet, I'm totally grateful to Osho for having put me in situations where I had to expand. I would have had a very small and very limited life had it not been for being lifted out of that smallness and put in a much, much greater energetic situation, which was living around him and living in the commune and living and working with all those thousands of people, which was an incredibly fascinating and valuable experience. That a master is not someone that is going to save you. Don't look for a savior. You are the savior because you're always in your life, and the guru or the teacher is your life itself. That is the path. Embrace it, live it fully, and don't shy away from any part of it. Darkness or light, it's all there to help you to grow, to become who you truly are. And who you truly are is far, far beyond what you can imagine. Yeah, I was kind of shocked at how superficial and the ridiculous thrust of that program. It was like telling the story of Jesus through the eyes of Judas. They focused from the eyes of Sheila and told the story of the ranch from her eyes. And for me, I mean, I had to work with Sheila many, many days. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd have to face her, and she would, go through what I would have to do all day long. You know, I saw a lot about that person. I think that she was misguided in her jealousy, in her will to dominate, in her fear of losing control. She was not a person who was loved or admired in the commune. People were very happy when she left. There was an explosion of joy and a release of fear when she left the commune. So to look at it like that she was the guiding light and she was the main thing, it wasn't that way at all. It's like if you lived in Chicago in the 1930s and you tell the story of Chicago through the eyes of Al Capone. Okay, a gangster comes and wants power and money and does criminal things in order to maintain that power. That doesn't mean that everybody in Chicago is doing that. Most people in Chicago are trying to live their lives and get by. We were trying to live a life of meditation and love and peace and joy. And there's these 20 gangsters who were trying to make it into something else. And that's the story that Netflix told. Okay, that suits for a television drama that you can You can have sex and drugs and politics and all that kind of excitement for the TV, but that's not really what was happening there. That was like, a small part, and we were 5,000 people doing something very different. So it's kind of a pity to me that that's the picture that everybody gets. And yet, when I saw it, I could see that what Osho was saying was shining like a pearl, shining light in the midst of all this confusion and false narrative. There was this shining light of wisdom coming through. So, what Osho would say many times was that even negative publicity serves its purpose. It shows to people, and they will believe what they will want to believe. Osho was never into trying to gain thousands of followers. In fact, he was just as much into people leaving who were there for the wrong reasons. And I think one of the most difficult things for people to understand about life with Osho is that he would constantly create situations where you would be faced with the decision to stay or to leave, because it was much easier to leave than to stay. And that was because the only reason you would stay was because there was some energetic, mysterious force in him that kept you there. It was not hypnosis, it was not manipulation, it was that I felt, there's a higher energy coming through that being. And I want to know what that energy is. I want to feel that, I want to live that, I want to taste that, because it felt real. That is reality. That feeling of the divine, and it's not Osho, it's a force that was being channeled through him. But feeling that force through his presence made me realize that exists. The divine really exists. It's not just that you have to read the Bible and you get this, through the hierarchical dogmas you learn about God. No. That godliness, that divinity is a real thing. It exists. It is pouring through everything, but we're just not tuned into it. And it coming through one person like that, at least for a time, I could feel it. I could sense it. I could know it. I could delight in it. And that changed my life, I have to say. That's an experience for which I can only be grateful. I don't really. I feel that if someone is called to his energy for some mysterious reason and wants to know about him, I'm happy to share that. In my music I share, he taught me a great deal about playing music for meditation. He taught me direct, word of mouth. He taught me about music and silence, and I have to say that something of him comes out of me in every concert I play, and something of that energy of Osho is transmitted. So I feel that if people get that and they want to know more about him, I'm very happy to talk about him. But I don't, presume that that's for everybody. I don't presume to be a missionary for Osho. I don't think being a missionary is a very valuable occupation. I think people have their sense of what they need, and they are drawn for mysterious reasons in the directions they are drawn, and I respect that. I respect people's individual choices, and I don't care what they think. It's their business. It's for a myriad of reasons, and I'm not a politician that tries to change people's minds. I just want to share what I experienced because I think it was pretty unusual and pretty unique and pretty rare, and getting rarer in this time when we live more in the internet and the telephone than in real experiences. That for me, I had the great good fortune to live on the cusp before the world started to change in a situation of tremendous intensity and beauty. And I'm very grateful for that.